David Copperfield himself, the titular protagonist, orphaned as a young boy, David is sent to work in a rat-infested London warehouse. But he sets out on his own to become successful in life. Imaginative, naive, earnest, and kind, he gains the love and support of family and friends. Through persistence and hard work, he overcomes challenges and heartaches as he makes his way in the world. He has a gift for storytelling, becoming a famed writer. Peggotty is a cheerful presence in David Copperfield's early childhood years. After the death of young David's mother, Peggotty marries Barkis, a stage driver, but she sets aside a bedroom for David so he can stay with them whenever he likes. An important mother figure in David's life, Peggotty continues to be a source of love and constancy for him. James Steerforth, the son of a wealthy widow, carries a proud-haughty demeanor, good looks, and easy self-confidence. He inspires a kind of hero worship in David, who enjoys showing off his charming friend to the Peggottys. But he comes to regret the introduction when Steerforth's true nature is revealed, and he betrays their friendship, eloping with and abandoning Emily. Uriah Heep, Mr. Wickfield's clerk. When David first meets him, he is a suspicious, conniving character who, along with his weak mother, feigns humility as a way of gaining power. Heep uses manipulation to become partners with Mr. Wickfield and comes close to causing Mr. Wickfield to lose everything, including his home, before his plans are foiled by Mr. Micawber. Dora Spanlow is young, pretty, and totally impractical. David Copperfield falls in love with her at first sight, and his determination to marry Dora inspires David to work hard and achieve financial stability and success. Dora's childishness and David's own naivety cause their marriage to be less than fulfilling. A few years into their marriage, Dora becomes ill and dies. Miss Betsy adopts David Copperfield when he runs away from his warehouse job. Eccentric, opinionated, but kind, she has strong opinions about marrying too young, as she made the same mistake herself. She is supportive of David and Dora and is David's third mother figure. She helps him along his career path, giving him wise and loving guidance along the way. Agnes Wickfield and David Copperfield become friends when David attends school in Canterbury and rooms in Mr. Wickfield's house. He thinks of Agnes as his sister and his good angel, confiding in her and seeking her advice on many things. She keeps house for her widowed father and copes with his depression and tendency to overindulge in wine. Agnes becomes friends with Dora after David's marriage. Years after Dora's death, she and David finally admit their love for each other and marry, living happily ever after. Blunderstone Rookery is the name of the Copperfields' home. David's father had called it a rookery because before he bought it, he had noticed rock nests in the trees, not realizing the nest had long ago been abandoned. Miss Betsy points out one aspect of the symbolism of Blunderstone Rookery when she visits on the night David is born. She says it's just like her nephew to take the bird on trust because he sees the nest. This symbolizes the character flow of naivety, something David struggled with. as an inherited family trait. In addition, the word blunder in the name symbolizes the tendency to make errors in judgment. In David Copperfield, the sea is associated with uncontrollable forces in life. It represents both death and rebirth. When David first visits Yarmouth and walks on the beach with Emily, he is struck by the realization the sea has taken the lives of so many people, including Emily's father, Ham's father, and Mrs. Gummidge's husband. Steerforth, an uncontrollable force in himself, is drawn to the sea and ultimately it takes his life. The sea is also a symbol of rebirth, offering the chance of redemption. Emily, Martha, and other characters needing to start over or seek redemption travel across the sea to start new lives in Australia. Flowers, with their bright colors and pleasant scents, symbolize love, innocence, hope, and romance. David Copperfield's first sight of Miss Betsy's cottage after his long trek from Dover is of her garden, full of flowers, carefully tended and smelling deliciously. The flower garden symbolizes the love and hope Miss Betsy gives David. When David boldly flirts with the much older Miss Larkins, he asks her to give him one of the flowers she wears in her hair, and he treasures it for days until his hopes are dashed by news of her marriage. When David meets Dora, they spend time walking in the garden, appreciating the beauty of flowers, and his first gift to her is a bouquet of flowers. Miss Betsy takes to calling Dora Little Blossom. The giving of flowers signifies innocence and romance. The nurturing and appreciation of flowers signifies love and hope. Charles Dickens's recently abandoned autobiography was much on his mind as he wrote David Copperfield, and many of the life choices his protagonist makes reflect choices Dickens made in his own life. Dickens's father rescued him from his warehouse job, but David Copperfield is an orphan. So he makes his first important life choice to run away from warehouse completely on his own. After that, Miss Betsy and Agnes help guide his choices. For example, Agnes patiently lends an ear to David's passing fancy of other women. It is her unwavering support that makes it possible for David to finally achieve the family life he sought for so long. The key to recovering from poor choices is to learn from them. As David learns from his relationship with Dora, Dickens showed that those who don't analyze and learn from their life choices, such as Steerforth and Uriah Heep, don't grow or succeed in life. Developing self confidence and the ability to make sound judgments is an important aspect of growing up, which is closely tied to the theme of the importance of life choices. David Copperfield, like many others in life, matures based on the outcome of the decisions he makes. David Copperfield's innate honesty and desire to please others causes him to take people at face value. In his childlike naivety versus maturity, he focuses on appearances rather than on gaining insight into motivations. For example, he mistakes Steerforth's good looks and haughty manner for nobility and maturity, because David assumes everyone else is as honest and forthright as he is. People often take advantage of him. He is embraced by his youthfulness and struggles against his naivety for a long time. It isn't until he encounters difficulties in his marriage to Dora that David begins to achieve the kind of insight that leads to maturity. David Copperfield's journey through life is a model of the reverse of persevering against the odds. Even before his perseverance is tested through privation and hard work, David shows determination in the quiet way. He maintains his self identity while under the controlling of Mr. Murdstone. He does this by escaping into reading, where he identifies with heroes who persevere against mortal threats. Later in his life, David's imagination helps him adapt his heroic fantasies to the more mundane perseverance he needs to acquire skills and earn a living. The motive of the undisciplined heart represents immaturity, particularly in making romantic choices. Several of the characters, including David Copperfield, have a tendency to fall in love based on physical attraction. David is impressed when Annie Strong says she's glad she didn't allow her undisciplined heart to lead her into what would have been a very unhappy marriage to Jack Maldon. David recognizes he is prone to letting his undisciplined heart lead him to make unwise, immature life choices. David Copperfield uses the metaphor of chopping down trees in the forest of difficulty to represent the hard work ahead of him when he decides he must learn the difficult skill of taking shorthand while also holding down two jobs. He needs to learn shorthand so he can improve his income enough to support his aunt and marry Dora. To inspire himself to persist in his task, he imagines himself as a heroic woodsman, clearing a path through the forest of difficulty.